Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivanadhari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivanadhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Chana Vallabha Girivanadhari Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajikacharya Stota Satashishmad A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON founder BBT founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parirajikacharya Stota Satashishmad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Anantagoti Vaishnavrini Ki, Premskaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki, Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki, Ganga Maya Ki, Yamuna Maya Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulasi Devi Ki, Shamaveta Bhaktivinoda Ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for coming today. And please, I seek your blessings in giving class today. So today we're reading from Canto 4 of Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 22, entitled Prithu Maharaj's Meeting with the Four Kumaras, and we're reading text number 42. Rajovacha Kreto Me Anugraha Purvam Harinartano Kampinam Tam Apadayutam Brahman Bhagavan Yuyam Agataha Rajovacha Krito Meno Graha Purvam Harinartha no Kampena Tamapadayitum Brahman Bhagavam Yamagataha Rajovacha Krito Meno Graha Purvam Harinartha no Kampena Tamapadayitum Brahman Bhagavan Yamagataha Rajovacha Krito Meno Graha Purvam Harinartha no Kampena Tamapadayitum Brahman Bhagavan Yamagataha Rajovacha Krito Meno Graha Purvam Harinartha no Kampena Tamapadayitum Brahman Bhagavanyo Yamagataha Rajovacha Domayan Grahapurvam Harinartanu Kampinam Amapadayuthum Brahman Bhagavanyo Yamagataha. Ladies? Rajovacha Itome Anukakaprupam Harinartanu Kampinam Amapadayutham Brahman Bhagavanyo Yam Agataha. Raja Uvacha. The king said, Kritaha, done, me, unto me, anugraha, causeless mercy, purvam, formerly, harina, by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, artha anukampina, compassionate for persons in distress, tam, that, apadayitum, to confirm it, Brahman, O Brahmana, Bhagavan, O powerful one, Yuyam, all of you, Agataha, have arrived here. Translation. The king said, O Brahmana, O powerful one, formerly Lord Vishnu showed me his causeless mercy, indicating that you would come to my house, and to confirm that blessing, you have all come. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When Lord Vishnu appeared in the great arena of sacrifice, at the time when King Prithu was performing a great sacrifice, Ashvamedha, he predicted that the Kumaras would very soon come and advise the king. Therefore Prithu Maharaj remembered the causeless mercy of the Lord, and thus welcomed the arrival of the Kumaras, who were fulfilling the Lord's prediction. In other words, when the Lord makes a prediction, he fulfills that prediction through some of his devotees. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that both his glorious names and the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra would be broadcast in all the towns and villages of the world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada desired to fulfill this great prediction, and we are following in their footsteps. Regarding his devotees, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Kuntaya pratijanahi na me bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee will never perish. Bhagavad Gita 9:31. The point is that the Lord himself could declare such things, but it was his desire to make the declaration through Arjuna, and thus doubly assure that his promise would never be broken. The Lord himself promises, and his confidential devotees execute the promise. The Lord makes so many promises for the benefit of suffering humanity. Although the Lord is very compassionate upon suffering humanity, human beings are generally not very anxious to serve him. The relationship is something like that between the father and the son. The father is always anxious for the welfare of the son, even though the son forgets or neglects the father. The word anukampina is significant. The Lord is so compassionate upon the living entities that he comes himself into this world in order to benefit fallen souls. Yada yada hi dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijami aham. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. From Bhagavad Gita 4:7. Thus, it is out of compassion that the Lord appears in his different forms. Lord Sri Krishna appeared on this planet out of compassion for fallen souls. Lord Buddha appeared out of compassion for the poor animals who were being killed by the demons. Lord Nrsingadev appeared out of compassion for Prahlad Maharaj. The conclusion is that the Lord is so compassionate upon the fallen souls within this material world that he comes himself or sends his devotees and his servants to fulfill his desire to have all the fallen souls come back home, back to Godhead. Thus Lord Sri Krishna instructed Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna for the benefit of the entire human society. Intelligent men should therefore seriously consider this Krishna consciousness movement and fully utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as preached without adulteration by his pure devotees. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Svamparantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shriuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savudutam Parijana Shihitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Paransaha Gana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinubandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kantarada Kantanamastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutudevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakalpatriyubhescha Kripa Sindhubi Ivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna. So we've been reading for some time about all of the wonderful and beneficial instructions that Sanat Kumar has given to Prithu Maharaj. And then yesterday's verse 41 and today's verse 42, we see the end of those instructions. And verse 41, we see that Maitreya actually says, being thus enlightened in complete spiritual knowledge. So just by attentively hearing from Sanat Kumar, he was enlightened in complete spiritual knowledge. And that is actually the power of hearing. So, we see a lot of examples of this in Srimad Bhagavatam. And I always think to myself, if only it was that simple for me. I just go to Bhagavatam class and then boom, fully enlightened. But, just like our chanting, just like our hearing, it's not always very attentive and it's not always very pure. So therefore, we don't always get that full benefit. But we still continue to hear and chant because, let's face it, it is our only real hope to actually feel happiness, and it is our only real hope to understand fully the truth. So then he also continues to say that the king worshipped Sanat Kumar in the following words. And then it comes to today's verse. The king said, O Brahmana, O powerful one, formerly Lord Vishnu showed me his causeless mercy, indicating that you would come to my house, and to confirm that blessing, you have all come. So I thought it was quite interesting that Maitreya is saying that he worshipped Sanat Kumar, and this worshipping of him was him showing gratitude. He was thanking the four Kumars for coming. So he states that it was actually the Lord showing his causeless mercy by sending the four Kumars. And that is actually the Lord's mercy to all of us. He sends his devotees in our lives. He sent Srila Prabhupada for all of us. Even though we didn't meet Srila Prabhupada, we still have him in our lives. Every day we sing Guru Puja. Every day we read from Srimad Bhagavatam that he translated and wrote purports to. So Srila Prabhupada is there for even the future generations. The Lord, out of his causeless mercy, he sent all of the spiritual masters. He sent those devotees who helped construct all of these temples that we can come to. The Lord, out of His causeless mercy, sent the devotees. Thank you. He sent those devotees who came and introduced us to the holy name. So, by pointing out this fact that the Lord showed His causeless mercy on him by sending the 4 Kumaras, he was actually worshipping them. So, Prithu Maharaj, he sees the Lord in the 4 Kumaras because they are sharing the Lord's instructions on devotional service. So I was thinking that this is a really wonderful attitude to have for all of us, to see the Lord's hand in everything. Because we don't always have the eyes to see Krishna, even though He's right there on the altar. We still struggle to see Krishna for all He is. But we can always try to just see the Lord's hand in our lives. Because the Lord's hand is always in our lives. He is influencing everything, and everything is because of Him. So this is just like what Prithu Maharaj did. This is the transcendental vision that we should all strive for. And then we can think, because Prithu Maharaj later, he is saying that how can he repay them for this? How can he show gratitude? And we can all think of this, and the way that we can show gratitude to Srila Prabhupada and the devotees and to the spiritual masters and to Krishna is by dedicating our lives to the service of the Lord and His devotees. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 21, Verse 31, it says, "Showing compassion to all living entities, you will attain self-realization." So this is a really nice verse because it shows that how a devotee is never himself satisfied by just being a devotee. He wants to make others devotees too. He wants to share this. He wants to share Krishna consciousness with others. So by sharing this knowledge, we can assure our own salvation, but it will also give salvation to others, as well as actually showing gratitude towards the Lord and His representatives. So here we see in the purport and in this verse that the Lord shows His causeless mercy by Himself appearing. That's what Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, he was giving all of those examples. Lord Nrsimhadev, Lord Buddha, all of these different incarnations. So this is the Lord's causeless mercy. So then we also speak about Bhagavad Gita 4.7. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharat, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. So this is the Lord's causeless mercy. He is coming. And, Krishna doesn't have to be here. He could say, you wanted to be separated from me. You wanted this little fantasy world where you think you are, the king of your own universe. So why should I come? But Krishna is very kind and He comes. So in the purport of this Bhagavad Gita verse, I wanted to read two paragraphs from here. So from the purport of this Bhagavad Gita verse, Prabhupada says, "He can manifest Himself anywhere and everywhere, and whenever He desires to appear, in each and every incarnation. He speaks as much about religion as can be understood by the particular people under their particular circumstances. But the mission is the same, to lead people to God consciousness and obedience to the principles of religion. Sometimes He descends personally, and sometimes He sends His bona fide representative in the form of His son or servant, or Himself in some disguised form." Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki, Shri Giri Govardhan ki, Shri Gaura Hariya ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. The principles of the Bhagavad Gita were spoken to Arjuna, and for that matter, to other highly elevated persons. because he was highly advanced compared to ordinary persons in other parts of the world. 2 + 2 = 4 is a mathematical principle that is true in the beginner's arithmetic class and in the advanced class as well. Still, there are higher and lower mathematics. In all incarnations of the Lord, therefore, the same principles are taught, but they appear to be higher and lower in varied circumstances. The higher principles of religion begin with the acceptance of the 4 orders and the 4 statuses of social life. The whole purpose of the mission of incarnations is to arouse Krishna consciousness everywhere. Such consciousness is manifest and non-manifest only under different circumstances. So, from this purport in this verse, talking about Krishna's causeless mercy as these different incarnations, here Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita is explaining that Krishna comes in different ways, in different forms, to different people in different places. And he shares this knowledge of you are not the body, you are the soul. He shares the knowledge of a relationship with God, but in a way that different people can understand. So the ultimate goal is God realization, but it can be presented very differently to different people of different levels of consciousness and understanding. So that's also very important for us to also take note of, because that's how we should also think when we present Krishna consciousness. The Lord goes through a lot of, he goes to different incarnations to explain it to us in different ways. So we should think the same way when we are talking to someone about Krishna consciousness. Like when we are at university, the way that we explain Krishna consciousness is very, very different to how we would explain Krishna consciousness to someone walking into the temple. So there's that personalism, explaining it in a way that that person can fully understand. So some other points I wanted to talk about from today's purport. There are 3 points that Srila Prabhupada mentions. Prediction, protection, and purpose. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned in this purport that whatever the Lord predicts, the Lord will fulfill, the devotees of the Lord will fulfill those predictions. And he gave the example of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that the holy name will be spread in all towns and villages. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, they all wanted to fulfill that mission. And now we are walking in their footsteps. We are in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada, who even went further to fulfill that prediction. So when we go out and we are spreading Krishna consciousness, we are sharing the holy name, we are actually just reawakening what is already there in the heart of someone. It's not like we're bringing them something completely new that is completely foreign to them. It's actually the most natural thing to them. It's a reawakening. So for us, this mission of every town and every village is very, very important, because we are following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada would actually cry when he would see the suffering of people in different parts of the world because of their lack of Krishna consciousness. He was genuinely so compassionate towards their situation. He wouldn't look at some people, especially in the West, and judge them or think, oh, look how terrible they are. He would feel sorry for them. So this compassion is very important for us to spread this mission. So Krishna consciousness is not actually just a philosophy of, you're not the body, you're spirit, soul, but it's also a culture and a lifestyle. And that's what's so nice about ISKCON. You can go to one anywhere in the world, and it pretty much is the same in all temples. You'll go, there will be Mangal Arti, there will be Guru Puja, Prasadam, and so on. There will be Kirtan. And that's why it really works, because you can go to any country with a ISKCON temple and you can feel like you're part of the temple. You can feel like this is home. You can feel like this is your family. You can do service there. Because sometimes you see with other maybe temples or churches that kind of all follow there's no sampradaya, so they all follow different things, and sometimes it causes conflict. So luckily we can go to any ISKCON temple and you know exactly what to expect. So that was prediction. The other point is protection. So Srila Prabhupada quotes from the Bhagavad Gita in the purport. He talks about how Krishna declares, "My devotee never perishes, never perishes." So there's this idea of protection. But what are we protecting? What do we need to protect? And we need to protect our Bhakti Lata Bij, our Krishna Bhakti. We have to protect our Bhakti. It's very fragile sometimes. So we need to actually ask the Lord to protect our faith, to protect our enthusiasm, to protect our determination, to protect our service attitude. Because I'm sure we've noticed in ourselves or maybe in others, you can start off super fired up and enthusiastic, and that can sometimes diminish. So we need to ask the Lord to protect us, that we don't stray too far away, even when this happens. But protection against what? What do we need protection from? So we need to be also protected from philosophical deviation, which can mean we're not fully convinced in what we are reading in the scriptures. We're not fully convinced in the Lord or devotional service, or we try to kind of mental speculate our own ideas of spirituality or the absolute truth, or we can even be swayed by more kind of atheistic philosophies. Another thing we want to be protected from is weakness of the heart. So in Bhagavad Gita, this weakness of the heart refers to mental weakness, this hesitation, this fear, doubts, which lead to a lack of conviction in what Krishna or Srila Prabhupada is saying, and this reluctance to perform devotional service. It's a state of being discouraged or swayed by our emotions and material attachments. And this actually prevents us from acting in our own best interest. We think, I don't feel like going today, so I won't. And then it's actually we are acting out of our own best interest. I don't feel like going to the temple today, so I won't. But actually in our best interest it is to go. And the consequences of this weakness of heart can lead to more attachments to material things. And we kind of have this sense of, we have this desire to avoid unpleasant things, like how Arjuna didn't want to fight in the Bhagavad Gita. He wanted to avoid this conflict and these difficulties. Or even with us, we want to avoid chanting. We want to avoid waking up early because we think, it's this austerity. So that is from weakness of the heart. And then Krishna talks about in the Bhagavad Gita how we can overcome it. And we overcome weakness of the heart by developing fixed determination and actually trying to surrender to the will of Krishna. So this is also all things we should pray for. And the third thing of what we want protection from is material allurements. So in verse 40 in text 40, Sanat Kumar, he describes the ocean of nescience as being infested with many dangerous sharks. So everyone knows when you think of like a shark, it's a very dangerous animal. So these metaphors used, it tries to get the point. So this ocean of nescience, or this material life devoid of Krishna consciousness, is like being in an ocean with infested sharks. So it's actually the biggest danger that we could be in. And what's scary is that it looks so shiny and happy and full of life and hopeful, but actually in reality, it's a very grave situation. So we should actually try to connect all of our thoughts, all of our activities, everything to Krishna. And then the last point, or the last P of from the purport, is purpose. So, prediction, protection, and purpose. Srila Prabhupada said that the mercy and protection is there, but what is the purpose? He talks about, in the purport, he says, at the end of the purport, he says, intelligent men should therefore seriously consider this Krishna consciousness movement and fully utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as preached without adulteration by his pure devotees. So, when we get on the airplane and you listen to the safety instructions, you know, it says when the oxygen mask comes down, you must first put it on yourself, and then you can help others. So the point is to first take care of yourself. The purpose is first yourself become Krishna conscious before you can help others to become Krishna conscious. So when we are chanting, you know, so how we do this comes all from chanting. So when we chant, we should try chant with the feelings of mercy, humility, and gratitude. But humility, this big, scary word, that is a very difficult quality to attain. You know, Prabhupada speaks of, you know, the propensities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And maybe it's easy to give up, you know, eating, sleeping, and mating, animalistic propensity. But that defending, defending our false ego is very, very prominent. You know, that's when it really pops up. So it's very difficult. So this humility comes up when we are progressing very nicely in spiritual life. But maybe it might seem to take a bit longer. But even Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, you know, he writes all these beautiful bhajans about Krishna, Radharani and Krishna, but he also writes many bhajans about his own weaknesses. Even though Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a pure devotee and doesn't have those weaknesses, but it's for us, actually. So this humility, it comes from when we are progressing in spiritual life, because the closer you come to Krishna, you see more and more the greatness of Krishna. And when you see this great personality of Krishna, you can't help but actually just to be humble, because you think, wow, I'm nothing without Krishna. So the more value we actually put on chanting the holy name, and the less value we actually just put on our own position and our own false ego, that's when the mercy really comes. But we can also, this humility, we can also fake it till we make it. You know, we can just try to be humble. And if you can't try to be humble, you can just pretend. And if you can't pretend, you can just pretend to be humble. And then eventually it will come. So every day when we when we have morning programs, we say all glories to the assembled devotees. And what does that really mean? That means that we are saying that everyone, all the devotees in the room should be glorified except me. Everyone needs the glory. So that is actually where the humility is, by giving the recognition and the glorification to everyone else. So that is the humility we need to try chant with. And that's also the Lord's mercy, is that we can actually practice this chanting, practice this humility by chanting everywhere and anywhere. And here we are so fortunate that every day we can have kirtan in front of the Lord. Every day. Every day we have Guru Puja, and then we are singing to the Lord. So it's a wonderful opportunity, and we should always, try to see how fortunate we are in that situation, that we can sing the Lord's holy name while He is right there, while He's watching us and smiling, always smiling. So this mercy, humility, and gratitude that we try chant with. And from that, once our sadhana is fully solidified, then we can actually go out and preach. So that is our mission, or that is our purpose, is to take this Krishna consciousness movement as our life and soul, and then go out and share it. So I'll stop there and see if anyone would like to share any comments. Ravindra?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, last night we were into the kirtan last night. So, I had a wonderful realization. I've never been that happier. With like most of the devotees, chanting with the devotees, but also we should also invite new people and come and join in the kirtan so they can get into it.
Yeah.
So I guess we have to start it, and we have to just set it up.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. So it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's true. Like if we feel so joyful, then we should give that joy as well to others to also experience that don't get to feel that all the time. Thank you. Yes, Ravindra found his purpose. That's very nice. Gitanjali, would you like to share? Okay. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki.